The lunchtime sun poured through the glass walls of Eliana's bistro, casting warm amber stripes across the wooden floor. The clinking of cutlery, the soft hum of conversations, and the smell of fresh rosemary bread floated through the air like an invitation to peace. But that calm shattered the moment. A tall, sharply dressed man stepped inside, someone whose confidence filled the room before he even spoke. His name was Mazen Rafiq, a billionaire investor known for his arrogance, impatience, and the belief that money made him untouchable. And in the next few minutes, he would say words he would regret more than anything he had ever purchased, lost, or ruined. Before we go on, if you believe kindness and second chances truly matter, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Good Deeds Stories to help spread more heart-touching stories around the world. The day had started like any other for Alia Nassar, a quiet, hard-working waitress with soft brown eyes and a resilient smile that hid more pain than anyone could guess. She moved gracefully between tables despite feeling the weight of exhaustion pulling at her shoulders. Life had not been kind lately. Her mother had fallen sick. Her younger brother needed school fees, and Alia worked 2 jobs just to keep her family afloat. Yet she carried herself with dignity, believing that every struggle had a purpose, even if she couldn't yet see it. When Mazen entered, Alia instinctively straightened her posture. She had dealt with difficult customers before, but something about his stiff expression and dismissive gaze warned her this encounter would be different. Behind him walked 2 assistants, both carrying digital tablets, anxiously awaiting his orders as if every step depended on his approval. Mazen surveyed the restaurant with a mixture of boredom and disdain, then snapped his fingers at Alia, as if calling for a servant rather than a human being. She approached him with her usual calm politeness. But before she could greet him, Mazen muttered something under his breath in Arabic. Words she understood perfectly, words meant to be an insult, words he assumed she couldn't comprehend. "Look at this place," he said smugly to his assistant. "They hire anyone, even those who don't look educated enough to say hello properly." His assistant looked uneasy, glancing at Alia as if hoping she didn't understand. But she did, every syllable, and it hit her harder than she expected. Mazen had no idea that she was fluent in Arabic, no idea that her father had been a respected professor of literature in Damascus before their family was forced to flee. No idea that behind her simple uniform stood a woman with more resilience than all his fortune could measure. Still, she held her composure, placing the menu gently on his table. She could have chosen anger. She could have walked away. But instead, she replied in perfect, elegant Arabic, clear as water and sharp enough to cut through his arrogance. "Education is not worn on the body, sir. Some of the most learned souls appear the simplest. But I can assure you, I understand everything you said." The entire restaurant seemed to freeze. Mazen's face drained of color. His assistants looked as though they had witnessed history. For the first time in years, no one dared speak. Alia bowed her head politely and switched back to English, her voice steady and professional. "Would you like still or sparkling water?" Mazen, a man who built empires, who negotiated with governments, who never lost control, even he was speechless. His ego cracked in a place that money couldn't repair. But instead of apologizing, he stiffened, masking his humiliation with coldness. "Just bring the sparkling," he replied curtly, though the tremble in his voice betrayed him. As Alia stepped away, Mazen felt something he hadn't felt in years: shame. Real, burning shame. His life had been a series of power moves and victories, of controlling rooms and commanding people's attention. But this woman, this waitress, had silenced him with nothing more than truth spoken with dignity. He watched her work. The more he observed, the more his arrogance unraveled into something uncomfortably human. He noticed how she smiled warmly at an elderly customer, how she gently lifted a tray for a coworker who was struggling, how she never rushed, never complained, even when exhaustion tugged at her. After a few minutes, Mazen quietly asked one of his assistants, "Did you know she spoke Arabic?" The assistant shook his head. Mazen's jaw tightened. Something stirred inside him: curiosity, guilt, and an unexpected pull toward understanding who she really was. Alia returned with the water, her expression unchanged. But Mazen suddenly was. Where did you learn Arabic?" he asked awkwardly, trying to soften his tone, though the heaviness